Here comes the Clifford Nicgorski Show. Get your eyes and ears ready to go. Welcome to the Clifford Nicgorski Show. We're gonna have a damn good time. Welcome to the Clifford Nicgorski Show. Welcome to the hell of a time. Welcome to the Clifford Nicgorski Show. We're gonna have a hell of a time. Test booping. Test booping.
Testing.
Because God knows that
This is my testing voice.
I'm testing too. This is my testing voice.
My mic is a little higher than yours. It's close. We'll see.
No, I think that's fine.
All right.
I'm gonna talk like this.
I'm gonna enjoy that.
All right. Well, welcome to a fresh episode of the Clifford Nicgorski Show. I'm here with Byron Russell.
I'm here. I'm so stoked.
Did we talk about your TikTok?
Oh yeah, we could mention that.
He's on TikTok. Would you say you're TikTok famous?
No, I'm not famous. But
how big are you?
I'm doing pretty good. 41K? 41K.
How about that?
I'm happy with that.
You gave me
I can stay at that number and I'm good.
You gave me the Byron bump. And,
I tried.
And it did. The numbers went up a
little bit.
It was a significant amount.
A noticeable amount.
Yeah, you have a good group of...
Yeah, toxic whiteness followers. That's what we call
Go on there. I'll show some examples of it.
Yeah.
And it's really funny stuff.
Thank you.
We used to do music together.
Yeah, music.
Known each other quite some time.
He's my favorite guy.
Likewise. And now you're kind of doing this thing on TikTok where you've got the ukulele and the
being
kazoo.
Ridiculous. You got to be ridiculous in this world. I just wanted to say, I think about that Tyler Perry joke often that you did.
Which one? I forgot.
Oh man, you were doing because there was a movie that was coming out at the time where it was about the Beatles, and everyone forgot about the Beatles, but this one guy.
Oh yeah.
But you're like, what if it was me, and instead of the Beatles, it was Tyler Perry?
And I get to have Tyler.
And the way you did it was so good.
Now I gotta try to make all these Tyler Perry movies as a white guy.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Beatles thing was the whole world forgot about the Beatles, but not this guy. So he was able, as an Indian guy, to introduce the world to the Beatles library, and he took credit for writing the songs.
Right.
Plagiarized the Beatles.
Straight up.
So I imagine a world where the whole world forgot about Medea movies, Tyler Perry movies, and now I've got to try to introduce the world to Tyler Perry Medea
so good.
movies.
If you zoom in on Tyler Perry's eyes, there's a weird thing going on, and I did a song about it on TikTok.
If you want to be taken by surprise, then take a deep look into Tyler Perry's eyes. If you zoom in a little more, then you'll realize his eyes aren't like any eyes you've seen before. And could it be he's wearing a disguise? I analyze pictures of Tyler Perry's eyes.
And it looks like he's wearing a mask. I don't actually believe he's wearing a mask, but it looks like he is. He's got, and they say there's a technical term for this eyelid thing. It's not just hooded eyes, it's next level. It's a very specific term. And I've seen every example I've been getting, I look up and it's not nearly as crazy as Tyler Perry's. Because his has a discoloration going on. And it's just...
What does he have?
You gotta zoom in on his
folded?
eyes.
Okay, well, I'm going to insert that into here. I'm going to zoom in.
Yes.
on Tyler Perry's eyes.
Please.
Yeah, I don't. Well, then a lot of people think there's like fake Trumps and Ivankas and.
Probably. There's people
I mean,
who
why
think a
not?
lot. I mean, it could be. They were in the 70s. They were working on face masks. There's a lady who came out and like spoke about it, but she doesn't know where they went with it. But they did one where it's like they fooled the president in a face-to-face meeting and he couldn't tell with like facial makeup stuff.
Well, I mean, we have to assume that whatever the greatest technology we're aware of, that they've got like at least, I'd say almost maybe even 100 times more advanced.
Right, that's
behind the curtain.
Dude, I thought that was common knowledge, what you just said.
Yeah.
I met a guy who's
The
smarter than
technology.
me, okay? And he's like, no, the best technology you can go get at Best Buy. I swear he believed that. And he's working with like VR stuff. And he's
He
like,
believes that?
He believes that.
Even though that it's very, yeah, like the Blackbird bomber, we found out about, that was like created in the 60s, 70s.
Oh, really?
And then we only found out about it in the 80s.
Yeah, well,
the
of
late
course they're
80s.
gonna like lag on
Because
like,
one crashed. Otherwise, we
Oh.
still wouldn't.
Oh, for real? They're like, okay, gig's up.
I mean, if you have all the money in the world to invest in something,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want some alone time with it
Right.
to use it on people?
Yeah, you're gonna have the advantage of knowing how it works better.
It's kind of like the Tyler Perry movies. I'm not gonna go and give Tyler Perry credit.
Dude, I have an undergoing joke with my wife because I want to do a Medea-thon. I have yet to see a single Tyler Perry
Me
movie.
either.
You haven't seen any?
And there's a new one. I think it's in theaters. We should go to the.
We should. I want it so bad.
All right, maybe that'll be the next podcast. We hang out and watch the.
That's the one difference I
Medea.
know. One of the few differences I know when I moved in Tennessee. I met a lot of Medea fans.
Was there
just Tyler Perry
did
movies.
race tie into it?
They most of them were black, but there was one person who wasn't. I forget who it was, but I remember I was taking a tally at one point. I was like, this can't be real.
Yeah, because it's amazing to me. Because I'm watching it, and I don't even think Tyler Perry really does the voice that really anymore. It looks like he's
just
kind
slowly-
of given up. He's like, "You play too much," and you're like, Are you still doing that voice?"
Yeah. Little,
And what does he do? He puts like R's where they don't belong in words. And,
I can't really talk shit because I've never seen a Tyler Perry
all right,
movie.
well, we're gonna go on a discovery because I really want to do that.
Yeah.
I need to see
I want to be there for that.
at least like 3 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 to 3.
You need to see a couple to really get the gist.
So
Because
that's-
apparently there's a character in one of the movies named Byron, and like one of the chicks says like Byron, like in a funny way, and they kept doing that to me in the kitchen when I worked at Walmart. I was at the deli, and they kept doing that, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And they're like, "You don't know Tyler Perry?" I was like, "I do."
They
but
were
I'm not-
shocked that
yeah.
you didn't.
Yeah, I was like, wow. And I remember a long time, the first time I ever used Twitter, like that was one of the first things I did was look at Tyler Perry and check the comments because I was like, does he really have fans?
Yeah,
And he does.
there. Yeah, it's incredible though. But that's the thing is, I don't know if we can all be expected to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I don't want everyone.
But I
to
don't
get-
feel like that works in reverse. I feel like with white people,
Yeah.
we in today's society, we are not even allowed to understand us.
Right.
Like I'm being taught daily about
Yeah.
myself.
Right.
Like, oh, well, that's because you're privileged, or that's
Right.
because of this. And did you even realize that you do? Like,
Yeah.
I'm learning all about what it is to be me
Yeah.
constantly, but
Yeah.
there's no. I try to tell people. I try to put my foot down and be like, I'll explain.
Yeah.
No. I'll explain what's happening.
I got this.
And I don't even think I know what's going on with anything these days. So
It's confusing. Like I was saying to you earlier, like I get the Ukraine thing because it's just about money to me. I feel like it's like, oh, that's a great way to launder money. Like that makes sense. I can wrap my head around that. But then when like Sports Illustrated does like a hijab. Like, I feel like on the cover, you know.
Is that really?
They did
Because
that.
to me, that's dangerously close to the Down syndrome Victoria's Secret model. Because is that good? Is that a positive thing?
I mean, they're definitely not going to get more
Well, if you
customers
can't
that
show
way.
the face, then
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
what have you? Is that a real thing?
They did a hijab Sports Illustrated a while ago.
Do they? Does she like show her ankles?
Nothing. She's fully covered on the beach.
So it's just a woman fully clothed on the beach.
Yeah.
See, I don't think that serves the initial. That doesn't serve like the purpose of the.
Yeah, that's not what you got into this game to do.
That's what I
Sports
said. That's what I'm saying with the Victoria's Secret is these are lingerie models
Yeah.
who are supposed to be sexy. Now, if you put a woman with Down syndrome in her underwear,
This is-
am I now supposed to disassociate the sexiness, or
Right.
do I run with
Embrace
it?
it?
Yeah, do I go like
Right.
maybe I'm on Pornhub typing in
Right.
Down syndrome into the search?
Right. Is that
If I show up,
inclusive?
with
Or
my
a
Down,
criminal? I don't know anymore. I'm
you-
so confused.
because you gotta think it gets amplified. Say you're a father and you have a daughter, and all your friends see your daughter. That's kind of an intense moment. Like, oh, they've all seen her in her
Right.
underwear in Victoria's Secret.
Right.
Now imagine if now she's got Down syndrome,
Oh,
and
God.
you're going like, now I've got all these men
Yeah.
looking at my Down syndrome daughter,
Oh my God.
lusting at. So I don't know if as the viewer you're supposed to separate the
Right.
sexiness.
I don't think.
Or is she like a girl boss?
I
Like,
think the sexiness comes first, and then people think about it after. So
yeah,
it's
you can't.
it's too late.
She's thrown into the
By the
mix.
time you're ready to disassociate, it's
There's
like,
5 girls.
you've already
The
done it.
damage has been done.
Yeah.
The wheels are in motion.
The sex thought is gonna be the first.
Because that's what happened was the Epstein had taken control of Victoria's Secret for decades, and was using his
that's
power
right.
to like take like, hey, I can get you on Victoria's Secret. But we just have to make a stop by the island
Right.
real quick. And my back, the whole time as he's selling him on it, he keeps grabbing his shoulder like, I might need him. I need
Yeah.
to see a masseuse or something. I don't know, but we'll talk about it when we get to the island. But so when he got busted, all of a sudden Victoria's Secret was like, we got a long way to go to rebuild our good name
Yeah.
after everything has come out. And first thing they do is Down syndrome, Down syndrome model.
Oh, I didn't
Like,
know that was the timeline because I
Yeah.
heard about the Down syndrome thing and I heard about the.
Well, I-
Epstein
I
thing.
wa-
But if it was that, like that.
It was because I watched there's a Victoria's Secret documentary everyone should check out, and it's like, oh, look at his involvement. He's
Oh, about the Epstein
he's,
connection with
they
Victoria's.
claimed he was pretending to be gay with the owner
Wow.
of it, and then he got control, and so they were like, well, we got a long way to go to rebuild our name, and then so we're getting more inclusive, and next thing you know, there's the big ladies,
Right.
and then there's the Down syndrome one.
Wow.
And so I don't know if like Epstein left that in his suicide note, like if all goes to hell,
Right.
play the Down syndrome card.
Yeah.
Like people won't know what to say
Yeah.
because
It's the confusion.
I do a whole thing on it on stage, like in my stand up, and you'll see people like,
Yeah.
and you're like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to like stop the internal dialogue before you've had a chance to process what's happening.
Oh my God.
It'll just be like, oh, I guess this is good.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't be thinking about this, and then you move on.
I want to make a prediction because I feel like the next step is Better Homes Magazine to have a crack house on the cover.
Oh, see, that would make sense. Because
That-
they've already sold us, like, 2015, they were, like, telling us all about how cool it is to live in your van.
Right.
Oh, you want that
A lot of people
Urban
did that.
Outfitters, like
a lot of people did.
yeah,
that.
and it was like cool. Like girls would be like, "He's so hot, he lives in his
Yeah.
van."
Yeah.
And see now we've
That
got
turned so
vans
quick.
parking
Like
everywhere.
it went from creepy to cool, like pretty damn quickly.
And now look at the streets.
Right.
Everyone's living in their cars.
Dude, I saw a motorhome like burst into flames, right there on, it's like near Topanga and Ventura, somewhere around.
That was
Ventura.
someone's ultra hip.
Like in the alleyway, just, and man, I'll never forget that.
That was his cool, like, bachelor pad.
Yeah.
That's how, in 2015, they were selling that. Like,
Yeah.
that's the way. And the tiny homes. They're like, how do we get it cool and hip to, like, have people want to, like, instead of living in a full-size house, it's cool to live in a teeny little house.
Yeah.
Hey, you could build a house in there, like a tree house.
It's marketing tricks, man. They can get you.
Well, before COVID hit, I remember, like, because they always say, like, the fashion world is, like, 5 years ahead
Right.
of what we're seeing as common fashion.
Oh,
And
man.
I remember that all the runway models, 5 years before COVID came, they were all wearing those masks.
Dude.
And I remember telling Erzo, like, hey, like, this concerns me. That this is
Yeah.
like, oh, this is hip.
Dude,
this
my
is
wife
kind of
did
cool.
the same thing
This
to
is
me.
kinda-
She was like, "What is this a fashion thing?" And she like even made a Facebook post about it before it happened. And then she's like, "Oh my god,
yeah, it's like,
that was a prediction."
it was like, let's get them comfortable with the concept. It's
Right.
kind of cool.
It's kind of cool.
It's kind of, it's like a hip thing for the kid. You're gonna live in your van. You're gonna have your cool mask on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we get sold. So that's what I get. Like,
There
like,
was one store that's somewhere recently. I have no idea where, what store. I can't remember that. But they're like no masks allowed in the store now because criminals keep coming.
well, yeah, they're trying to pass a new mandate where you have to lower your mask upon arrival so the cameras can see you, and then you can go back to it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's the thing is I keep going back to this Down syndrome model
Yes,
only
please.
because I'm fascinated
Yeah.
with, because like the Special Olympics, they're doing feats of strength of all things. You
Yeah.
know they got strength.
Oh, for
They're
sure.
bringing the strength,
Yeah,
the Down
they got
syndrome
that.
strength. But you'll see a guy who's like just ahead, and you're like, what's he gonna do on the gym mat? And he's
Right.
twirling and
yeah.
grabbing the bars with his teeth. You just see a head flying
Oh,
around
man. Yeah.
on the parallel bars. But there's like, there's guys with like one arm, and he's like swimming out there in the water.
Yeah.
And the thing with the modeling is, she doesn't exactly have a good body.
Yeah.
She's not
Right.
physically fit. It would be one thing if it's like, wow,
Right.
what a body.
Right.
But I almost feel like they have to keep it like not too attractive.
Yeah.
But like there's that in between. Like if you watch America's Got Talent, this is another thing on this same thread.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about this. You can't, it's almost like your story can't, it has to be the perfect kind of tragedy to be one of the stories where they tell you the background.
Right.
And it's funny what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah.
So say you have a guy, he's sitting there, he's singing with this beautiful voice, and then you find out his mother died of bowel cancer, and he used to sit by the hospital bed and sing to her, and she was like,
Right.
I know one day you'll be a great singer. And now that's really horrible.
Right.
But if someone goes, he comes out, he's singing Pavarotti, he's just like, la la la, the Bellagio theme song, fountain song. Now he goes, my dad would have dinner guests over and friends over, and he'd humiliate me and berate me. And the only thing that would make him stop is if I sang. And that would be the one time my dad was nice to me. But other than that, he would make fun of me, and he would kind of smack me around. and none of his guests seemed to mind that I was being beaten, they would probably go, "That's too dark.
Yeah.
That's too dark."
Right.
But so you would prefer, instead of this guy getting humiliated by his father, you'd prefer his mom die of bowel cancer.
Right.
So that's weird how there's
a certain level of, they don't want to cross these lines.
My uncle would molest me,
Right.
and he would say, "If you can sing
That's how
Pavarotti perfectly, I won't molest you today." And so I learned to sing, and like you couldn't come up with an honest. So
do
they have
do
to
that with everyone on America? Because I know they do those cutaways where they do the backstory.
I don't know if they do it with that.
It's like everyone has a sad backstory. It's like, come on, really?
Yeah, because
One guy's just like,
I'm a reasonable guy. I work hard for my
family
money.
loves me.
And everything's okay. And I sing well.
Get out of here, dude.
The only thing I work hard the only thing I put as much work into as I do my job on the construction site. I'm a framer. I make a good living. Is my singing. I take the same approach and I just work away at my vocals. And so, but that guy, we don't want that.
We're gonna have to cut off a finger or something.
My grandma used to beat me with a wooden spoon. Every time I hit a note wrong, she would beat me. And well, can we get the guy with the mom who had bowel cancer back?
Yeah.
We don't need this guy. Get this guy out of here.
It's not working.
Yeah, so it's interesting that there's no like common logic to this world.
Yeah.
There's no.
It really isn't.
Like if you're, say you have you ever met someone that's a vegan for moral reasons?
Oh, I've read about them. I think
they're out there.
Weird Al is that, I think.
Oh,
he read a
for
book.
moral reasons.
He read a book and he changed his mind.
And see, this is I know a few people who are vegan and they go, "I just can't stand the suffering of animals."
Right.
But they eat the Impossible Burger, which looks like the thing they hate. Like, why would you want to eat something? How could you find it I prefer it to taste exactly like a murdered animal.
Yeah.
And they even put the beet juice, so there's like a little blood to simulate blood. And so you're going like, where's the logic in that? Where you're like, I want
it to be totally different.
Yeah,
looking?
just let it be a vegetable.
Yeah.
Let it be the thing it is.
Right.
But no, I like it to look just like something murdered and
Right.
mistreated, and I like to feel like I'm chewing the
Like,
texture.
I don't want to murder anyone, but I would want a real replica of a human that looks really real, so I can murder it.
I go to this. I'm sick enough to where I go to this. If I sit here and I tell you I'm against child abuse,
Right.
and then on your way out today, and we have a whole conversation about how horrible child abuse is, and then you go to use the bathroom and you see like a real life doll that's the shape of a child.
Right.
Would you be like,
Wait
this
a
is
second.
this, because it would obviously be wrong. You would be like, I wouldn't have this guy babysit my kid or leave him alone with my child.
Right.
Because clearly there's an issue here. He's got a real life sex doll that looks like a little kid that he's just banging every night. And so
this is how I keep the child abuse away.
Yeah, there's no.
Aren't I a hero?
Like, hey, I'm avidly against any kind of child abuse.
Yeah.
And then I'm in there just doing back shots with this with this sex doll. Like, Cliff, are you almost done in there? But so that's the thing. There's no universal logic. Like, well, you shouldn't want anything that tastes like me. But we just bend the rules to whatever makes us feel better at the time.
Yeah. It's a weird bending that's going on, and I feel like it's in a lot of different directions. I don't understand. We were talking about people who start talking tongues.
Oh yeah, we were talking tongue talk.
I want to know, like, how many people talk in tongues, because I've met 12, I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
I've met a.
And I'm not going out looking for these people.
I've met my fair share of people who do the speaking in tongues, like kind of it's like a church situation. This is in a religious tongues, not just like casual tongues, because you never see the tongues outside of the religious experience.
Well, if you go to like a park, that's what happened one time. It was like a religious guy who just walked up to my wife and did it. But that was like...
He might have been a bum. He might have been on that new zombie.
Right, but he was a religious bum.
Well, who's to differentiate, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing is like how many times have you gone out and seen someone and they speak in tongues, but you don't know?
Yeah, how many people do you think walk amongst us?
That's what I was seriously trying to Google.
And they're looking at you and they're criticizing your life, and meanwhile they get back in their car and they're like, and they're speaking in tongues.
It blows my mind.
And again, there's no order. There's no way to verify someone that speaks in tongues to go, you're not really speaking. Because I could imagine the argument to the guys in church. Like, wouldn't you be pissed off if, like, you're over there speaking in tongues for years? Everyone's like, this guy's like the best. Yeah. He's like the main tongue talker in this town. And I show up to church my first day and I'm speaking. And all his buddies are like, he's killing it. Yeah. He's good. He's almost better than you.
I guarantee you that's happening.
And then there's like an argument like he's not really doing it. But how do you prove that this guy's not really speaking?
Mine's more legit because there's no way to finish that.
Doesn't that just sound better? You know? Yeah. I don't know. My hairs were standing up on my arm when he started talking. I wonder if anyone's ever been driven to murder because he's so jealous of the guy who's better at speaking in tongues.
That's a fucking movie I want to watch.
Yeah, that would be maybe a comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy who's driven to murder.
They never talk about it. I feel like no one's backstory on American whatever is ever like, I was talking in tongues my whole life, and then one day I sang. Like, it's just like a hidden thing that no one. I feel like there's so many, like flat earthers people would talk about a lot because it's controversial.
Yeah. But these guys have been around significantly longer.
And there's more of them. I feel like maybe
no
they're
acknowledgement.
Equal. Maybe I need to know the numbers, and there's no way I'll ever know.
Well,
that frustrates me.
Well, this is a call to the audience, really.
Yeah.
Let's just see how many people. If you know, please contact the show.
I feel like everyone knows someone who knows someone, kind of vibe.
Because I'd like to interview someone, you know, maybe we can discuss that with someone.
Dude.
If you come across anyone that talks in tongues.
Oh my God.
Because then you say your
oh yeah, so this is what fascinated me. This is the story that fascinated. I never thought about it. I'm just like, I'm not even that young. I was like a teenager. And my family on my dad's side has been totally cool. Jane Russell is there, who's a famous actress.
Oh, wow.
I'm related to. She's my great aunt. She's dead now, but she was there, and the whole family, dude, surrounded me and just out of nowhere, like, never saw this coming. Because they would keep their stuff separate, you know? They were just always nice to me. And then one day I got surrounded and they spoke in tongues, and I'm just like...
That's horrifying.
I've never been the same since, dude. It was like a serious, like, horror scene.
Yeah.
So there was no horror, though, but it felt
did, like, Grandpa in the middle of it wink at you? Or anybody like, oh, you're going to be okay, we're just doing our thing?
No. They were like, oh, too bad he didn't find Jesus. I think Aunt Jane said that. She kept it real. She was like, oh, it didn't work.
I don't think it worked out this time.
I was like, wait, I was supposed to do something? Well, I was supposed to stand up and go...
You should have bit the throat out of your uncle, clearly. That would have been a sign that you... Yeah.
I don't get it, because the snake is bad, right? In the Bible?
Well, the serpent is a...
And the tongues is a serpent talk, right?
The snake is a direct result of Adam and Eve because that's one of the first things God was saying. He's like, there's gonna be thistles and shit in the grass and thorns and you know that lizard you like, your pet skink.
Right.
Well, the legs are gonna be out, and they'll be. He's gonna be crawling on his belly, like someone at the Special Olympics.
Right.
Doing the.
So, but yeah, I don't get why they would want to speak in tongues. Wouldn't like a lion voice be better?
Yeah, like a
Be more
roar.
like godly.
Like a roar, or a beautiful angel's. Like a nice little melody.
Why did they go with the serpent, the slimiest?
Yeah, so this is my. That's a good question. With the tongues, is there's no way to verify if anyone's speaking in tongues. And what's tongues to one person? Isn't it?
Oh
is
shit!
it
Are there different versions of tongues?
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh shit! That would get way complicated.
Like, these guys aren't really doing it. There's got to be a lot of that, I think, going around the community. Or are they just happy that anyone's verifying it? They'll take any support they can get.
Yeah, they would have. It's got to be rough. Do you think they like we're looking for a good tongue speaker on Craigslist? Do you think that?
I got you. Check this out. And then he does, because at that point, what's the difference between scatting?
Yeah.
You know, you hear the scat man.
Yeah.
Beedoo bop bop skeet
Not
bop
much of a difference. One's just more reptilish.
One's got a little more swing to it.
Yeah, but they're very similar. You're right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's definitely no way to verify.
Yeah.
Because that was, again, the tongues. Oh, that reminds me of almost like with people talk about like white Jesus. I see it all the time. Someone thinks they're real clever and they're like, if you think Jesus was white. And first of all, we're talking about stuff that none of us could possibly know.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're even acknowledging Jesus, then we have to now go back to the inception of Jesus. And what color was the angel? He's half and half.
That's
you know what I mean?
Solid point I never thought about.
Yeah, because we know the mom was Middle Eastern.
Right.
But what was the dad? Beautiful white angel. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is, if you're gonna like come at people like with let's get accurate here.
Yeah.
Okay, they're from the Middle East. He would have been brown, not black, and you're going, well, if we are addressing the story, we don't know what the angel looked like.
Right.
Who banged her. And I often think that people don't know a lot of Middle Eastern people who say that, because there are a lot of like green eye. Dude, light skin, kind of reddish, blondish
I know nothing
hair.
about Middle East, but I know Japan, if you go back in their history, had white settlers.
So what?
Or there was like a white emperor or something. I don't know if it's an emperor, but there was white people on Japan. I'm throwing that out there.
I wonder what they were doing over there.
Who knows, dude? The history, I think, is so screwed, and it's frustrating. Because I feel like in a lot of ways it's accurate. Like, they'll know the amount of like guns and shit. But I listen to both sides, and I'm just like, I don't really know why the Civil War happened.
I don't know.
I mean, it's like I know kinda. I get the gist.
Probably like most wars.
Details,
probably like most wars. There's
like,
some amount of greed, arguing over who gets
just trying to fuck that.
Who gets to control.
And he's like, I don't like that guy.
Certain parts of land.
Well, and then it escalates.
A lot of times I go, we don't really need to know much to continue in our daily life.
Right, really.
Because I was at Chipotle and there was this kid who was making my food, and he just had these eyes like, I don't even know that I'm really here right now. Right. Like, there's too much TikTok, and it's like reality is open for debate now. Yeah. And I feel like that's like a byproduct of COVID, because you take like millions of people who are unhappy doing these jobs that they don't like, and then you take it all away from them and go, they're like, you're gonna get locked indoors now. And they're like, well, you better pay for our rent. I'm not gonna be able to pay rent. And they're like, we got rent.
Yeah.
And here's some spending cash. And so now they got to live the dream. They got to live the dream that everybody secretly wants to just hang out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like there's a knock at the door and it's like rent's due. It's time to pay some bills again. And they're like, whoa, what's going on here? And then they're like back at work and they've done nothing but watch videos of people like going, we're all living, it's like the Matrix.
Yeah.
And we're living in like...
Yeah, for sure that definitely is going on.
And this kid's just trying to make my food and he's just like, I don't know that I'm even here right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're here.
Yeah, I think people
Grab
take
the
the
big
simulation thing
tortilla.
a little too far. They read about the simulation and took it to
and also, people are so eager to pretend there's no God, but they've done everything outside of that to create the same thing that was always said that God did do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, we're living in a simulation. Okay. We're living in an environment that was created by somebody.
It's just semantics, right?
No, but this is different.
Yeah.
Oh, there's not a ancient space billionaire who... Let's just make up a situation here. Because people because I grew up religious and reading the Bible, so I always thought it was funny because as a kid, I would always have to defend these beliefs.
Yeah.
And now I'm living in a world where everyone's come to the same agreement, but they like want to pretend it's something new and different.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't
They
it.
put a hat on it.
Like, how did Adam and Eve? How could that be? So there was two people that magically appeared. He made another human. Meanwhile, everyone's 23andMeing and sending their DNA to God knows where.
Dude.
And you've got Elon Musk over there creating a little bubble for people to live on Mars, a new planet, and he can easily populate that planet and have people appear there.
Sounds pretty similar
and
parallels going on.
then give them whatever story you want.
Wow, yeah.
And they would go on believing it. And you can bring people back. Let's bring this guy back. And
aren't we kind of going to make robots in our image too?
We're doing
they're bipedal, right? We're not making four-legged robots.
Yeah, we're doing all the things. We're doing everything that was always told to me,
Yeah.
It was always far-fetched,
Yeah.
but now we're actually watching a situation that could easily happen.
Oh my God. My fear is that the robots in the future will look back and be like, they'll look at just any technology as their ancestors. So like that microwave even, like, and then they'll look at us and be like, you guys have just been abusing my ancestors.
That's like one of the things with like the phones. Like if you're talking shit, it'll be like, that's not nice. And you're like, huh. You know what? I'm sorry. I was just having a moment because you want it to be on record.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that this information that we put into our phones isn't going to be used against us. Did you think you could
there's one way is if it all gets destroyed and we go medieval. That's a possibility, but I don't think so.
It could have happened before.
You're right.
But that's the thing is, everyone wanted to know which Rugrat they were, and we're answering all these questions and just giving all this information, and now they wonder why nothing makes sense and things don't work, because we pretty much like gave them all the tricks to us. We know how to be perfectly distracted. Nothing ever needs to happen for us to just be in constant...
Right.
What? Whoa, huh?
For real.
And in constant shock and Oh, guess who slapped somebody at an award show? Cool, we'll bring that up in a year again, and when we need another distraction. Now the comedy special's out.
Yeah, I feel like we can't go back to like just like there was sexual abuse, like, or not like abuse, but like there was sex scandals, you know, and I feel like that's
no
not
one
gonna cut it
cares.
anymore.
Well, not in today's world.
Now
They're
if we
like,
went aliens, you can't go back from that.
no,
There's no.
there's
it's just
no.
gonna have to get.
Yeah, because just browsing, and I know that a lot of it caters to your preferences.
Yeah.
But I talk to a lot of people, and
Yeah.
they seem to be like, I don't know. I think there was aliens in Egyptian times. Like,
Yeah.
like people like really sold on it, and
Yeah.
like information that's always been there. They're like,
Yeah.
look at these, and like people are just discovering, knowing things. That's
Yeah.
what and their minds are being blown. They're
Yeah.
like, you could know something
Yeah.
that didn't happen in my lifeline. Like if you're 20 right now, as far as you're concerned, like Lead Belly and Robert Johnson is John Mayer.
Right.
You're like, let's go old school before my lifetime, and you got John Mayer on blues, and this is something that blows my mind. I've been talking to Andy about it a lot.
Yeah.
This is gonna
I love
happen?
Andy. Shout out to Andy.
Shout out to Andy Marshall. Well, I was worried about this time, and now we're here. That already, if you just stop everything now and just examine all the past 100 years of recording, you could go your whole life and still not discover everything that exists.
It's too much.
So at some point, kids are going to be stuck. Like, how can you make your way all the way back to Robert Johnson? How can you let anything soak in and mean something at this point? And I went and did the research on this like a couple days ago. I woke up like at 5 in the morning, and I was like, I need answers. Is this a warranted worry? Okay, so in the 60s and 70s, guess how many albums came out a year? Do you want to guess? You want me to?
Oh, this is a great question. Yeah, I want to guess. In the 60s,
70s and 70s.
like 2,000.
5,000.
Okay, that's what. All right.
5,000 new full albums of music came out per year. 60s, 70s. Do you want to guess the number now?
No, I'm over it.
Okay, the number now is 100,000 albums a year get released.
Oh no.
How can anybody have a chance?
Wow.
How can you?
Yeah.
How can a good band even exist at this point?
Yeah.
Not only, I mean, every melody
Yeah.
is used. There's not one. You have to be sued at some point.
Yeah.
Just sitting around going, oh, I want to write a song.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh, is it catchy? It better not be catchy, because we have like 90,000 artists who want to sue you now for copyright infringement, because that's the same melody, the same chord progression.
Oh,
I mean, and that's been for the last decade. So
it's too much.
that's a lot. That's like a million albums.
God.
At least. So, I mean, and then they were saying for singles, like if it's just like songs, that it's 100,000 a day get released.
Oh my.
So we're down to like nanoseconds. There's just constant.
It's gotten a lot easier to do it, but that's,
But it's out there. I mean, if you look at like a place where you're like, okay, let's go to Apple Music and narrow it down a little bit, not just search the world for music. They boast that they have 700 million songs in their library. Do you know how many?
Where is this library? Like, it's
do you know how many slaves have to mine in the Congo? That's the number I want to ask ChatGPT. I saw a guy and he was like, "Hey man, can you give me a sandwich or anything?"
Right.
I'm like, "A sandwich? I can't say no to a sandwich."
Right.
And so I go to give him the sandwich and he's like, and just like rips it away from me, and he's sitting there,
total dick.
and like, and then I realize I'm ridiculous for expecting anything.
Right.
Like, you're sitting here starving,
Yeah.
and I want to thank you,
Right.
and I want you to pull it together to be polite.
Get some manners, though.
Yeah, have manners, even though you found yourself rejected out of every home
Yeah.
or comfort in life. And I need you to pull it together to say thank you to me, so I don't have to walk away feeling like an asshole. But we're, you know, I think Noam Chomsky said perhaps we expect a little too much from the wounded.
Right.
And, you know, these
Yeah.
people are fucked up. But again, I have to go to Chipotle Kid because he's there. He showed up.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't.
Yeah.
And then he handed me this burrito, and he put too much stuff, and it's like ripping, and he's like he's having a meltdown.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, he got really high. Who hasn't had a job
Something.
where they got completely stoned? He's probably like on mushrooms and just like.
I had an experience because I used to work security at the mall at a graveyard shift, and the homeless would come. And there was this one lady who would reoccur, and she was OCD'd out, and she spent way too much time in the bathroom. We're like, you gotta get the fuck out of there. Like, I'm hooking you up with the bathroom real quick, in and out. And
Yeah, do it. Wash out your
kinda screwed
nasty
me up.
crotch. And
So at one point I went in there and I just started touching the floor. I'm like, see, it's okay, you can do it. Like,
Yeah.
And like I felt like you, like I thought I could make a
normal.
difference.
Yeah, because I watched the documentary on that hitchhiker with an axe. Did you remember that story?
Oh wait, oh
it was
yeah,
like a
yeah, the
Netflix-
redheaded guy, yeah.
Yeah, and did you see the documentary?
I did not, but I know
Well,
they made
there's
it.
this whole thing where they were like, we found him, and we're gonna make him famous.
Yeah.
And they were so disappointed because he's like pissing on the street outside of the nice hotel.
Right.
And he's like, they bring him into the bar at the Roosevelt, and he's like getting wasted and like breaks his beer bottle. And they're like getting him on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and he's rude and drunk, and he's like pissing on the Jimmy Kimmel sign. And it's like, what made you think that this guy would? And everyone kept saying all he had to do was pull it together, and he could have, like, if he could have pulled something together, he would have done it before you. He had to become the man with the.
There was
the
this super
hitchhiker.
sad story where there was some show my wife was watching, and I got a glimpse of it. But they brought this homeless lady. They like got her apartment, and she brought her tent into the apartment. Like she was like, "Fuck this bed."
Yeah, they just want their things.
And yeah, like that's the way it is.
Yeah, you can't change. There was like a really crazy documentary that came out in the early 2000s where they gave a homeless person, a bum, $1 million. And you just watch his whole life fall apart. You see this guy, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Johnny the Bum, and and this is where I do my cans." And he seemed like he was fine.
Yeah.
And then you gave him $1 million, and he's just like in tears and like doesn't know what to do. And his family's asking him for loans, and he's like buying the guy at the recycling center a new car, and he's like 10 times more upset after geting that money, and then ends up homeless again. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. All I know is that
there's not much.
does it help Chipotle Kid? Does it help him to know anything?
Right.
Like a lot of us, like we get wrapped up, and it's like, if you can get through the day and treat people good, and just take care of yourself,
the simple things,
I mean, do you really need to know? Like, if aliens come down, do you think that it's gonna be like, and you don't have to work ever again. I feel like this kid is just sitting there waking up, looking at his phone like, please tell me there's like an explosion or a bomb or there's an alien, or can this be the day some shit goes down? Because I do not want to show up another day.
I battle with that. I know it doesn't
Tell
matter.
me it's
like
the
deep
Matrix.
in my soul, I know it doesn't make a difference, and I can't help it. I'm like, what's going on in Antarctica? And I gotta look it up.
Oh, it's fun.
And I go down these holes.
There's a healthy way.
And I just get more questions.
But it's a healthy way.
But yeah, it's kind of fun, kind of frustrating. Like a video game can be frustrating.
Yeah.
So it's like that.
Well, I mean, history and science are very interesting.
Yeah.
And developments in the world and just learning about the world we live in, that's fun and fascinating, and it should be encouraged. But I think people are just like looking for the reason that they don't have to live. They're just like, well, did you hear about the banks foreclosing?
Yeah.
So what am I even doing here at work today?
We shouldn't be working.
What am I doing? They're gonna give us all free money soon, anyways, because that's the only way. When the robots take over all our jobs, we won't have to work anymore.
Right.
Like, we'll all be left to like become artists and open Etsy. Etsy stores.
I tried reading about it. I got like 2 chapters in. I got too many questions.
You got to the good stuff.
I got too many questions.
You got to the good. Right off the bat, Noah's naked in a tent, drunk, with his kids walking in on him.
Well, even before that,
right off.
Even before that, it's like pretty clear God doesn't want you to know. He's like, I don't want you to know the tree of knowledge, right? It's like.
And what's on the back of our iPhone?
So maybe I'm like, is this a test that God wants me to shut this book and not know? Because like the tree of knowledge.
I don't think so. I think that that's what our phones are. That's why there's a bite taken out of the back, and it's going,
dude.
If you sit there and you eat from this, you're gonna know everything.
Yeah.
And that will ruin your life. If you know all this. What I'm telling you is there's nothing to know.
Yeah.
You can enjoy life. You have enough going on in nature and all these creations that can take up forever to discover, and you can invent stuff and you can create things here, but you don't need to know about Pornhub, and you don't need to know about all these misleading.
I'm a father, so I'm kind of being hypocritical because I don't want my son to know about rape right now, you know, like there's so maybe it's like that's how God felt.
He's going, you don't need to know about everything that there is.
Right.
It's the good and the evil. You could have just enjoyed the apes and checked out. There's like so much to discover. I mean, every time I'm a zoom in guy, so if I see a little like bug going around, I'm on, let's just see what this guy's up to. This little son of a bitch. And you'll find a whole world of adventure just following some random little insect on the ground.
Dude.
And you're like, oh, this is crazy. You can see him eating little things.
Ants trip me out.
Yeah, like there's
they're so small. How can they be that intelligent? Like it just makes no sense.
You could spend years and years just looking at ants and figuring them out, and those are all things that are like that the earth naturally provides for us.
Yeah.
But instead, we need to get on our phones and go, let's speculate about things that are probably lies and meant to just keep you distracted and not enjoy any of this.
Yeah.
None of the stuff that's going on in the world, and we'll pretend to care about nature for like 10 minutes and then get right back to the horny stuff and the violence and the fight videos.
Yeah.
And
the Will Smith slaps. That's why I try to like not with the TikTok, but I'm guilty of it sometimes, but I try to not be too topical. Like people I feel like are very topical, and that's the trap that they want us in. They want us to talk about what they just put out. They want that to be the discussion. That's how they control the narrative. So I feel like when they start talking about, oh, they're shutting down TikTok, now it's time for me to bring up Antarctica.
Yeah.
Like,
That I'm very similar, and I like to go,
yeah.
especially in the comedy community. Everybody's harping on one thing, and it's like, well, I want to be the one guy who's talking about the Down syndrome model, which nobody will discuss.
That's crazy.
Nobody will
discuss. It's the
discuss.
wildest story. They could make just a movie about that.
Why that happened, how that decision was made, and
Make it like multiple endings. So
why is there no fat male mannequins in Target? Those are the questions I want. And they seem so stupid.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's...
Holy shit, you just blew my mind. I've never seen a fat model in Target, but I see...
Yeah, but you don't see the fat mannequin. Male mannequin.
Yeah.
He puts the man in mannequin. Yeah,
That's so true.
But I mean, those things are interesting, and they're revealing to the whole picture. If you don't need to, like, absorb everything that's getting put out there. You just find that one little crack, and you go, this whole thing is flawed, and none of it requires or deserves any of my attention. Because you're, like we were saying in the beginning, people would be the posters on Target. If we all like cannibalism and enough of us were like, it's okay to eat people. It's perfectly fine, and we love it, and it's our favorite thing. We think it's very wholesome. Target would be right there with just a mulatto kid with just chewing.
That's the thing. I feel like it was like if it's the democratic mandate, I think is what they call it. If enough people are behind it,
it's okay,
and they'll advertise with the flow of
That's why I don't even enter that. Like, there's a Bose. I could talk to you forever, I think. But there's a new Bose headphones commercial. And instead of taking the time telling me how good the headphones are, what it is, how great they work, the whole commercial's about there's only 1.2% female producers represented in music. And call that what you will. Call it a... You know, why aren't they included? And I'm going, so how about those headphones? Do those things work good, or pretty good headphones? You haven't told me one thing, and I'll sit there and I'll go, let's watch this whole thing. I'm going to give you all my attention, Bose. Tell me about these headphones. Never, at no point do they get to anything like, to try to sell you on these headphones are high quality, they'll last you. I think all the commercials should go right. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's go back to the 50s and just have a guy's head appear, like a balding guy with his hair combed and a suit, and just go, these are the best headphones the world has to offer. They last for 10 years and they'll always noise canceling. And just give us the facts about the product that you want to serve. Don't tickle me. Don't win me over. Don't make it like, hey, it's Pride. It's Gay Pride sandwich at McDonald's today. That doesn't do anything for me. And it's insulting to the causes.
Right.
Because that food is bad.
If they actually believe, they're like, oh, we're gonna connect with people because this is what they care about, so they're gonna buy our product because we're relating. If they actually believe that, I think that would be like, that's a conspiracy theory. I don't think they believe. I think they're pushing something.
Sales.
It seems it's gotten to a point though. Like back in the day, they would do that, but now it's like gone too far, and they're losing money. And now I'm confused because it's like, you want to make money. 10
years ago, I was telling my buddy that I think you should pay to have an opinion on any major thing, because you can go out into public and speak. If you believe in something, go out into public and speak. Hold a seminar. See if anyone gives a fuck.
All the time.
But you don't need to, like, while you're taking a dump, comment on the Holocaust. Like,
These
Yeah,
platforms,
yeah.
I use that term. It's like what I don't even know. Like it confuses me because it's like they're platforms, right? It's like you get up on a stage and do it, but it's like, is that even what it is though? Because it's like you can all do it at the same time.
To me,
a
this
real
is-
platform is like it's only one person at a time.
One
or
person
like
at a
5 people
time.
at a time.
This is like if
This
you
is everyone.
if you are going up onto a stage to have to speak about something, and everyone in the audience has their own microphone too. And but they all get to be in the shadow, like in the crowd, and you can be like, "This is stupid, dumbass," and you just have like every single person who would want to speak.
Oh my God, that is what's going on. That's exactly what's going on.
I don't think that everyone should. I don't believe in free speech. You need to be allowed to do bad work.
Right. Yeah.
If you're gonna be out there and try stuff and be a creative type,
Right.
you definitely need to be allowed to do a bunch of bad work
Oh yeah, for sure.
and then figure it out and see what, come out on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But in this society, it's like, we'll never forget the day you said that. Or you thought that was good. I hate you forever now. That was crappy and unfunny and not good.
Remember when you like?
I could pull it up right now.
Yeah.
We could.
That's horrible.
I don't know what it was, but when Facebook first started asking questions, I would answer them in a ridiculous way because I didn't want it to pick up on anything.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want you. You don't know what I like. Like Spotify is like, I bet you're gonna love this Sting and Shaggy album since you listened to The Police last week. And I'm like,
make an album of this.
I'm going, because I listened to the first Police album that was really cool.
Yeah.
Now you think I want to hear Sting and Shaggy,
Right.
their album they did together? And because you listened to that, here's just Shaggy. It's like, no. His latest stuff, too. I think you're really going to like it. If you like the first Police album, you're going to love the newest Shaggy album.
Man. Yeah, just 2 degrees.
You can't
of
guess.
side went horribly wrong.
It wasn't me. Man, you can really... That's like honey on the ears. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Till next time.
Love you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
It's a great
Is that
time.
the hand you spit on?
Yeah, every day.
God damn it.
And that's how it's done, baby. Here on the Clifford Nicgorski Show. Enjoy whatever time period you're about to experience next.